Welcome everyone. I am Juice.
And I'm into the Miller.
Man, it's so good to be back. I'm sorry about the wait or the time away. I had to take care of some school stuff and it took me away from this stuff. But while I was gone, it's a lot of things that have been happening, man, and stuff that I want to talk about and adjust. And I kind of want to bring this conversation back to the beginning. I know this is a fatherhood podcast, but in order to become a father, you got to start at the beginning to meet the mate. But the way things are going these days, like a battle between men and women, and in my opinion, it got to come to an end, got to come to a stop. So there gonna be times I'm gonna say something good about the men, and there gonna be times I say something bad about the men, and vice versa. I'm gonna say something good about the women and bad about the women. But in my opinion, I'm gonna try to stay neutral. Majority of the time, sometimes I won't. It all depends. And the way I'm gonna start this thing off is this war between man and woman has to stop. We gotta find a common ground. How do we go about finding common ground? You got some men out here that's going over the top to try to get the kitty cat from the ladies, and you got some women want the most. What I mean by that is the standards. I mean, everybody can have standards, but let's be realistic, man. Let's be realistic on these standards and stuff like that. You know, 'cause we all have our preference, but if you have so many damn standards or so many different tiers or type of guy you got, don't forget on the other side of the line, you got to meet certain requirements for that guy too. And this battle between the sexes is getting ridiculous. What you got to say, Antoine?
I agree to an extent. I mean, yeah, it's a battle. You can call it a gender war, or whatever you want to call it, or you can call it the Western mindset. Uh, but I think we've come a long way from what it used to be,
Yeah,
right? In those 1600s and 17 and 1800s and even the 1900s, we've come a long way. I think some women see that we can go even further. And it's to the point where it's not to be on equal footing, but they want their turn at the top, right? But they don't want to have to remove the king physically because they're aware it's a challenge for them. So what they're trying to do is get the king or his henchmen around him to remove him, or the king removes himself.
mm.
Right? There's that movie Underworld where towards the end of it, where I think his name was Lucian and Craven, I think his name was. Anyway, they're in this little dungeon, if you want to call it that, and Victor has come in, and Craven is like, "Hey, Victor's come in," and Lucian looked at him, and Lucian is like, "You do realize at some point you're going to have to bleed for this, right?"
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing to them. If you want it, then you're gonna have to take it. Now there is lots of men out here who do not want it to go back to those old days, right? Because it's a little bit ridiculous and it's a little bit of dehumanizing women, and I'm not with that,
Mm-hmm.
right? But at the same time, there is an order of things, and there is a head and a body, a leader and a follower, right? I'm playing my part, you play your part as the woman. And I'm going to do my part. I'm going to fulfill all the requirements as a man, the protection, the provision, all that good stuff. All I ask you to do is just play your part as the female, right? Recognize that male leadership and understand that there's a difference between male leadership and abuse, because we're not down with abuse,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're not down with just hitting your wife or girlfriend or whatever for no doggone reason, or that should be a absolute last resort when your life is in danger, right? Just because you're in a bad mood, you're hitting your wife. That's unacceptable, right? But it goes both ways, right?
Yeah,
No one should be hitting it, anyone, right? But I know for when it comes to abuse, yeah, there's lots of men who are in an abusive relationship with women. Uh, but it's the man abusing the woman that's more. It's more it's more out there reported, and there's
Mm-hmm.
more of it is happening behind closed doors, right? So we can't deny that. But at the same time, we can't say every woman that accuses is correct also, right? Anyway, so going back to my point, I don't know if it's a full blown gender war or if it's a war between the quote unquote masculine men
Mm-hmm.
and the feminine men who are willing to die on the hill for the women and the outrageous requests they have. So I don't necessarily blame the women for making some of these requests of you do whatever I say and I get to do whatever I want because it's my life. Or your money is our money, but my money is my money. Or the famous a happy wife is a happy life, right? It's those men who follow those models to the end is who the issue with is who the issue is with,
I can agree
right?
with you
I
on
mean,
that one.
I mean, if you look at a divorce court and child support and all this other stuff, I don't care about the women making these outrageous requests, but it's the men who are putting it into law. It's the issue. It's the men who are saying, yeah, you don't have to get a paternity test. You just, pay child support and that's it. Right? It's that
You,
cover from other men. It's the issue for me.
yeah, I definitely agree with you right there. Another thing, you kind of touch upon it, but I know we're going to have to find some time to go deep into this. And I try to remind myself of this, but I'm starting to see when you're saying ladies making certain requests and stuff like that, and men making certain requests, I'm starting to see a lot of people trying to define certain roles. As for, I'm trying to define a role what a woman should do, and a woman trying to define a role what a man should do, and I'm not okay with that in a sense of not everybody gonna play a certain role that you want them to play, but you're trying to find your person to play the role that you would like for them to play. You see what I'm saying? To put it in reference, I'm trying to put in two different reference. As for football, I'm not going to find a power running back to play a speedy running back. He's not. That's not the role for him on my particular offense. As for say, from a female perspective, I'm not going to find a hairdresser that know how to do African braids, but she don't know how to do finger rolls. You see what I'm saying? It's a different role, and I think we trying to men and women trying to find a role that all one size fits all, and it only work that way. And when it comes to that, you can't ask somebody to play a role that never played that role before. Now, with that being said, can you get trained up to play that role? Yeah, if you know how to accept that. But if you don't have that feminine energy in you, you can't play that feminine role. You only pretended to play that, but you can't play that role because that's not part of your personality. If you want to be a boss bitch and that's your personality, you can't mask that or chameleon that to be a feminine person because all it takes is that one tick that gets you upset. Now you back to being a boss bitch, and then that's when you got people colliding. Same thing with the men. You know, I know a lot of women throw different roles out there, but the I would say this: men choose the lady to confirm a relationship. Most women want to wait till somebody to choose them. And I'm not against a woman going out there and go get what they want to go get. Like, listen, I like you. Excuse me, I like you. I want to make this thing work. I have no problem with that. Some men don't like that. Don't like that aggressive approach. Each his own. But when a woman is dating a guy, you got to see a guy how he leads by watching him and knowing about his past. Same thing for a female. Watching her and by knowing about her past, because your past will dictate how this person gonna react. Because we all learn from our past, we all grow from our past. And what I mean by that is, the simpler way I'm gonna say it. we can go, like I said, we're gonna get more in depth in this, but the simple way I want to say it is, if I date a girl who stay at home with her parents and me and her break up, and I date a girl who stay by herself, shoot, I ain't going back to the girl who stay with somebody who have a roommate. I'm chilling with the girl who live by herself. And then if I date a girl who don't have a car compared to a girl who have a car, I'm gonna date the girl who got the damn car. Unless, unless you are a person, male or female, that love to be relied upon. And if you like to be relied upon, to me, from my perspective, that's just another side of controlling. Because you have a control of something. If I have a car and she don't have a car, then I have control of this vessel, and she need me though to get to A and B. But I like to dive into that later on. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
So
yeah, we're definitely gonna have to dive into the role part of it.
yeah, because everybody roles different. Depends on the relationship. We could all define. We all could put out different tiers of what's a man supposed to do, what's a leader of a man, and all that kind of stuff like that. And I don't think that's a one size fits all when it comes to certain men. That's why certain men are better in certain relationships compared to other ones. And same thing for women. Some go ahead on.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask also, it also depends on the environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like back in the days, it was a single income household can support everything. But
Mm-hmm.
now it's not that way. So either if you're gonna maintain that, I'm the provider, a sole provider and a single income, you've got to make a lot of money, right?
Yeah,
But if you intentionally keep your wife at home, even though she has the potential to earn more than you, and you're intentionally keeping her or asking her to not work and stay home, and you're limiting her, that's also wrong,
I
right?
agree.
You're doing that just because you're gonna die on that hill because that's what men do. That is
I
wrong.
agree.
If you need to compare and say, look, I can earn 50, but you can earn 100. Hey, you go out there, I got the kids.
Yeah,
Right
I
now,
agree.
if you married a woman who takes that and then say, well, I'm now the head honcho, then you've got an issue there, right? But at the same time, you can't say, well, even though you're 100, you can make $100,000 and I'm only making 50, that's what we have to do because I'm the man, right? That
Yeah,
is you limiting her ability, and that's wrong in my
yeah.
opinion.
I agree with you. The other caveat to that is for women is that just because you make that type of money, shouldn't come out to say that, hey, since I make the type of money, I make the rules, and it should never be that way. Because
100% agree.
if you choose that man, you choose him based on him possibly protecting you however way you feel protected, and his leadership. If he don't have the right leadership for you, and why you choose that man? If you choose that man just because he prop you up and make you feel good, then still in all though, it's still a sign of respect, regardless who make the money. Because if from where I look at it, we are a team. If
Yeah.
we are a team, it doesn't matter who bring in the most money. We are a unit.
And you know what too, that leadership, because I know leadership and then the final decision, that final decision is a last resort, right? When it comes to
Mm,
that, I'm the man, I make all the rules. It's a team effort and it's a team decision. But if you're like in an absolute grunt and you absolutely cannot come to a decision, then that's when, as the leader, he is making that decision. But it's not being based on his uh, what what I want to say. It's not just being
but
based on the outcome for him. It's the group effort.
you're right, because another thing when people, I'm saying people in general, a lot of people like to make decisions based off how I feel instead of the facts of the matter, what we need to do as a family.
Yeah,
Take your feelings out of it when it comes to the cohort of the family. And then if you're a coward, regardless woman or man, make decisions without your partner, then you already leaving breadcrumbs of disrespect or not
yeah,
even trustworthy on other person regardless. And
yeah,
there's a lot of women out there say that, oh man, I want to build my man up and this and that. That's all fine, but it goes both ways. And then on top of that, you have to understand that does that man or that woman wants to be built up? Because it seems like nowadays you're dating somebody based off their career, not who they are. And a lot
Yeah.
of people don't date on who they are. You know, we talked about it before, and me and you agreed and disagreed with the whole pop the balloon thing. Some of them ladies come in there and they automatically pop the balloon just based off what a guy might got on and this and that the other. And you know, I know you say that, hey, I'd rather know that early if I knew not to deal with it. I agree with you 100%. But these ladies change their mind and idea of what they want. They don't even know what the hell they want.
Yeah.
And it's a damn shame that people don't even have a conversation and talk about how they feel for each other or how they want to feel for each other compared to what you can do for me. Because if you saying you going into like what you can do for me, man, y'all relationship number transactional.
Yeah.
And if that's what you want, hey, I'm not knocking it at all. If that's what you want, then sit up to front. Like, listen, I'm dating you because you got this and this and this. If we decide to get married, in 2 or 3 years, I'm taking half of your shit. And he could be like, listen, I know you here to date me for my resource stuff like that, but here's the thing: I give you some of these resources, but I want to sign a prenup because you're not taking half of my shit.
Mm-hmm.
For while you're here, I give it all you want, but once you're gone, you're not taking half of my stuff. So can we come to agreement? That's all it is. But the other part about that, which I want to dive into more, is that a lot of people don't talk about kids in the sense of my background of how I was raised and how I want to raise my kids, and your background, how you was raised, and how you want to go raise your kids. And like I said, we're gonna talk more and get deeper into that too. But with
No,
that being said,
I
any
agree.
last words?
Yeah, I agree, and I can't wait. Let's do it.
All right, man. Like and subscribe. We got more content for you, and talk to you later. Peace.